All right. Welcome to a cold, chilly, rainy night here in southeastern Michigan. Welcome to Questions with. I'm your host, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View. And I do believe that Cheetah will probably make an appearance later. I think the weather has got him all funky. So, our guest tonight is a very talented young actress named Tatjana Marjanovic. I hope I said that right. I think I did. Um, she will be here with us in about 15 minutes. And I can't wait, honestly. Um, this week has really got off to a great start. We had two wonderful shows yesterday with Roy and Becky's travels, and then our good friend Jennifer and Jennifer Tochi, our fellow podcaster and film reviewer. She knocked that out of the park yesterday. So I want to keep that good energy going, and I think Tatiana will definitely bring that. Um, she has just just been nominated. I'm sorry, she just got nominated for an Independent Spirit Award uh, for her work in Purgatory, which is a TV series where she played Lisa at, and it also Purgatory is also uh, it also was written and directed, or I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was created by our good friend Michael Caissie, who has written it for it. So we're looking forward to seeing her. We're looking forward to seeing talk to her about that. The show is based in Armenia, filmed in Armenia, and it looks to be interesting. I haven't really heard about it. I just know that it's purgatories. Basically, it's a place between heaven and hell, and you never know what you're going to find in purgatory. So we'll have to talk to Tatiana about that. Um, so looking forward to this. And she completed a film called No Tears in Hell, which will be coming out soon enough. And that also, for sure, was directed and written by our good friend Michael Caissie, who has been a guest on the show. So I know a whole bunch of information, right? Um, but looking forward to it. Uh, as far as No Tears in Hell, Michael Caissie has nothing but praise for her. For Tatiana, says she's just an amazing talent, and yeah, she's got an interesting background. I didn't know. I didn't know. I think she said we have to ask her about this. See if I get this right. Um, she's Serbian, Australian, but lives here in America. Okay, so obviously there's a lot to be lying there. Um, she's very charming and she's very lovely. We talked a little bit yesterday before today's show, and yeah, I'm excited. As you know, this is also Women in Horror Month, so that's what we'll be also talking about too. She's done her fair share of horror, of course, being with Purgatory and No Tears in Hell, but she's also done some other films as well. Monsters of Man, which she co-starred with Neal McDonough, uh, one of the Cheetah and I's favorite actors. She also did a shark movie. She did a shark movie that came out last year called Great White. So we'll be talking to her about that because Lord knows we love sharks here. If you don't, if you're new to the channel, um, just be aware that we love sharks. We love shark movies. All right. So while we're waiting for Tatiana and waiting for our other friends to pop in there and say hi, uh, I'll break out the calendar and talk about that a little bit. So tomorrow night we have Dolores Wheeler will be with us tomorrow at 8 o'clock. She'll be here to talking about her career. Uh, I'm looking forward to talking to Dolores. She seems to be um, very energetic, and not afraid to get her hands dirty. So she'll talk to us about working in indie films from her perspective. Next Tuesday, the 8th, we are welcoming in a filmmaker and a makeup artist, a singer, basically a Renaissance woman. Let's just put it that way. She's a Renaissance woman. Her name is Spooky Kisses. Yes, she does have a real name, but she goes by Spooky Kisses. So that's what we're calling her. She'll be here at 8 o'clock. Then on the 9th, we have a double header. We're going across the pond to talk to producer, actress, and writer Donna Taylor at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And then for our 100th show, we will be talking to actress Bailey Harrington, not Harrington. Harrington. She'll be here with us on the 9th. And then an old friend of our local horror community returns. We'll be talking to actress Dylan Fawn Harvey. She's a very fine actress. She has acted with director Todd Sheets on a number of projects, including Bone Hill Road and Clownado. And she will be here to talk to us about working in horror. And believe me, she knows it. She's if you've seen any of her films, you know that she is gonzo. She is not afraid of anything. She will take any role and make it work. Terrific actress and a really nice person. Just got married, so we'll be talking to her about that, what the honeymoon period's like, and what's next on her agenda as far as films go. Okay, it looks like as of right now, we'll be dark on the 15th, but we will be back on the 16th, and we'll be talking to Mariah Owens, a filmmaker from Canada, and one of my favorite people. I have yet to talk to face to face, but I interviewed her before, and we've talked for years. And she's a really nice person and a terrific actress. And we'll be talking to her on the 16th. And then on St. Patrick's Day sees the return of an old friend of ours. On St. Patrick's Day, we have Christy Adams coming in to talk to us about Nightmare Toys. How the shop is expanding, and they've been incredibly busy. If you watched any of their podcasts or seen any of Christie's pictures on their Instagram page, you know that Nightmare Toys is just blowing it up right now. Very, very busy, expanding like hell. They're in the perfect market in Las Vegas, and quite honestly, I'm very, very glad we got her back, because it's got to be super insanely busy there. So we will catch up with her on March 17th. Other guests coming up in the month include the legendary Devaney Penn will be here with us. The return of Kelly Goody will be here with us. We'll be talking about how she's been doing. We watched her in a new movie called The Ashcroft Entity, and she filmed a new movie called April. We'll be talking to her about that. And then we'll also be talking to actress Monique Candelaria on the 29th. That's the nightcap. And then that'll be March 29th. And then we'll be talking to another Tatjana. Tatjana Loria will be here on the 30th. So that's coming up, Women in Horror Month. I'm looking forward to that. So glad you guys are here. Glad, if you want to come on in and say hello, that'll be helpful. That way I'm not here rambling. Caught the new show, got the new stream yesterday from David's Horror. He premiered a new stream. I think it's just happening once a month. It's just a once a month series called the Screaming of the Lambs. And so I caught that yesterday, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. I gotta say this though, man, it's hell to do trivia. We gotta figure out how to do trivia here. Uh, wow, that was crazy, but good questions. David stumped us with some really good questions for horror trivia. We talked about collectibles. Just there's some amazing collections out there as far as that goes. Um, I'm blown away by it. Just what some of the members of the community have in terms of films or figures or posters or autographs or whatnot. David and Cody and Derek, Halloween PDX, just Phil from Phil's Creepy Vids, who we just had on the show last week. They were showing off some of their collections. Um, Nothing but respect. I mean, you got to respect the hard work and the to find make a good collection like that. So, and of course, our good friend Hobbs Horror was on the show too. Um, and that was really fun to see. I was really happy to see Hobbs on the show. I had to sneak in one football joke, and they did, but I don't know if anybody saw it or not. But I snuck in one, and so that was fun. So I really enjoyed that. And like I said, I do believe there'll be a monthly thing for that. Um, the panel of Derek and Phil, David and Hobbs. So in fact, I think I put it out on my community tab. If not, I will reshare it out so you guys can go take a look at it. All right. Tatiana will be here in about 5 minutes or so. This is the lull in the storm that always happens when you go up a little early. So it's Judy G official says new friend here, but I think she put that on all my live streams. I think she put that all on there. So I have to go see who Judy G official is, and thank you for coming by. It is cold and rainy here. We're expecting to have it rain all night, off and on, into tomorrow. But tomorrow we're supposed to be expecting a really warm day. We're supposed to get up to like 60. Okay, now I'm gonna be facing my worst nightmare. Here we go. Okay.
I'm your worst
my God. No, my worst nightmare is to have a show here and nobody's here. I started out. There's another couple of other channels. They started their shows earlier than this, so a lot of the people are there. They're not here. So generally, you have like 8 or 9 people here, and they're not here. So this is a podcaster, especially since we're doing a live show. This is the worst nightmare you could face as a podcaster.
Oh no!
But live show, because most podcasters, Tatjana, they record their shows. If you go watch most podcasters, you can tell they edit their shows. They don't do live shows. I love live shows because I like working without a net. I mean, yeah, I do. I think it's more fun. I think it's more fun.
I want to agree with you, but I can't.
What? Oh my gosh! I mean,
wait a minute. Nice.
Now, do you do your own stunts?
I haven't had to do all that many, and
do you do your own stunts?
I do, yes. But in saying that, I haven't like jumped off a building or anything like that.
Oh, I think she froze. Hold on. Here, let me back. Hold on. If you can hear me,
yeah,
Tatjana, if you can hear me, go. Okay, because we're breaking up a little bit. Try to go back out and come back in. Because we're glitching a little bit. Hey, Rick. Of course, you know what? We do all these pre-shows, and our pre-shows always work really well, but sometimes StreamYard gets a little glitchy at night. Okay, there
Better?
we go. I said sometimes, like when we did our pre-show yesterday, it was perfect.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets a little glitchy at night. I think it's because people are using it so much at night more
Mm.
during the day. So, but we'll be fine. And our good friend Rick came in there, and thanks for coming in, Rick. So I was asking you about stunts.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I asked you if you do your own stunts. You said sometimes you do, most of the time.
Well, I said I do, but in saying that, I feel like I need to have a little asterisk there and say that I haven't done anything very cool. Like I've had to fall over, but that's about it. I haven't jumped off any buildings.
But wasn't it? Didn't you have? Wasn't there when you were getting ready to do your stunt? Wasn't there that excitement that, hey, I'm going to be falling down here? Like, I hope this works. I hope they catch it.
Yes, but to my point, I had a safety net. There was a
Oh,
mattress there. So yeah, it was like really fun throwing myself around.
okay, okay, yeah, okay. Because I was gonna say, if you just fell into if you fell into like an air mattress, without any, if you, okay, we just want you to fall like 5 feet into this air mattress. That's still without a net. You still have that anticipation and that little nervousness that I'm falling backwards, because that's such a abnormal thing for a human to do. To
Absolutely. But you know that when you fall, you will land softly on the air mattress.
right. And we're gonna land softly here tonight for sure. I'm sure.
I'm sure
Um,
too.
uh, it's just it's just like, oh my gosh. Um, yeah, I didn't expect all that to happen. That happens, though. You get out there, and that's the beauty of, like I said, live shows. You just never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, or what's going to be said, or anything. And while there is some trepidation, but I love it. That's why I love doing this show.
Well, every
Um,
year, I tell myself that I have like a word for the year. Like every New Year's Eve, I say like a word that I'm gonna live by, and my word this year was adaptability. So just going with the flow.
that's a great word to have. It actually positively fits this year. Actually, you could have used that word for the last 3 years.
I know, right?
Yeah. Uh, hey, it worked once. I'll just keep it rolling. Uh, I was just before I signed on, I was just talking to another gentleman who mentioned that Australia is getting pounded with rain today.
Yeah. Yeah, not just today. Unfortunately, it's been going for a little while, but I think they're seeing the worst of it. I think Brisbane is like underwater, and now Sydney, which is where I'm from, is getting a pummeling. So
Yeah. Wow. I was just thinking, going like, wow. I mean, they got hit with fires a couple of years ago, really bad, and now
it's
and
just
now
been
here.
nonstop, really.
Yeah. For such a beautiful country, your weather's. I didn't think it would be so extreme.
I mean, like for most of my life, it hasn't been. We had the occasional wildfire, much like California, but right before COVID, they had those awful, awful fires, and now they're just drowning. So global warming, man.
Yeah, that's really what it is, isn't it? I mean, we don't get winter really much here in Michigan. I mean, we get the cold weather, but we
Yeah,
don't get the snow like we usually do. It's
really.
When I first moved here, I actually moved here from California.
Hmm.
I moved here in 1999, and um, so the last 20 years, I've sit there in every winter, and snow would start as early as late October, but now it doesn't start till the middle of January. And even then, yeah, it's just as you know, you've actually seen climate change happen right before your eyes. It's really interesting, and not
Yeah,
necessarily in a good way. Um, yeah,
no,
people say, I hate the snow. I hate the snow. Well, don't worry. In a couple of years, we probably won't have any.
right.
Um, so let's get this going. See Timothy showed up. Thank you, and our good friend John is here. That's awesome. That's awesome. Doomsday Crypt here. Thank you for showing up, fellas. I appreciate it. Um, so Tatiana, Now, this is the question we talked a little bit about yesterday, and I'm fascinated by this, but explain your background. Where were you born and raised at?
So I was born in Singapore, actually, that tiny little island.
Mhm.
And I lived there for a couple years. Then my family moved back to Sydney, and then we moved back to Singapore, where I did most of my schooling, and I lived there for 12 years before I moved back to Sydney, and now I live here
Live in Los Angeles.
in LA. Yeah,
So Singapore, but your background is Serbian.
that's right. Yes.
So your parents came from Serbia to Singapore to
No,
Australia.
they they came over when they were much younger. So my mom moved over when she was like 7 years old, but my dad was born in Australia.
Oh, okay. I just think it's such a fun because I didn't have no idea, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she has such an international flair to her.
I know. I think I was telling you every time I come through customs in America, they like size me up. They're like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, yeah. How did you like living in Singapore?
I loved it. I honestly didn't know anything different, but it's such a safe and clean and wonderful place to grow up. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Uh, Singapore, yeah, Singapore. They like their city clean, don't they?
Like spotless, like not just like a little bit clean, like you could eat off the floor clean.
Um, and I don't know if people know this or not, but what happens if someone decides that they just want to toss a bag outside their car?
No,
Um,
I'm sure that there are serious repercussions though.
yeah, you get caned. You can get they will arrest you, and you will be fined, and you could be subjected up to being caned, which is basically getting smacked in the back with a stick.
Well,
You,
if you're caught with drugs, they'll hang you. So,
oh yes, and
mm,
they have I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they have done that to a few Australians who've got caught smuggling.
yeah,
I know that, yeah.
correct.
Uh, so you moved to you lived in Singapore. You went to got your education there,
Hmm.
and then now where did you start getting into acting?
So I did start getting into acting in Singapore. I always enjoyed drama, and so my parents allowed me to audition for some national theatre productions, and that's kind of where I got a taste for things. And they were kind of hoping that that would just be it, but unfortunately, it just my love for acting continued to grow for them.
Are they creators as well? I mean, you said
No,
you got permission. No, they're just
no. My dad's a lawyer and my mom is a relocation consultant, so this was very foreign to them.
uh, but they encouraged it. I mean, once they saw that you were sinking your teeth into it, they said, "Okay, this is what you want to do. We're going to be behind you."
They did. They're incredibly supportive, but that was on the condition that I had a good education first. So I did go to university as well.
Okay, and that was that in Sydney.
Yep, I went to UNSW and I studied law.
Oh, your dad probably had hopes there for a minute.
He sure did.
Uh, a father and daughter law firm.
I don't think I ever truly allowed him to dream that big.
Oh, but but did you can come in there and tell him, Dad, I may not be a lawyer, but I can play one on TV.
Yes, I have said that on several occasions. It doesn't go down that well.
No, I, I had a feeling. What kind of law does he practice, Tatiana?
He does financial
Okay.
law.
Yeah, it's that, but that is very difficult. I mean, it's got to be that's got to be a lot of hard work there.
It
What did
is.
you when you studied law? Was that what you were studying too, or were you just doing
No.
that to get no?
No, mine was more broad strokes. I did the regular like criminal torts, but my favorite subject was cybercrime.
Okay, okay. Um, Now, what's it like going down to school in Australia? I mean, as far as you got your start in Singapore. Was there a big difference between acting in Singapore and the acting in Australia? How you were taught?
Yes, very much so. I did go to an Australian school in Singapore. It was an international school. So the schooling, like at school, wasn't that different, but obviously Australia is a much larger country with many, many more opportunities. So it was going from a tiny, tiny little pond into a much bigger pond. And then LA obviously is like the ocean.
Right, right. Um, what was it like moving when you moved from Singapore to Australia? I mean, were you old enough to realize, you were moving, and was there any
Yeah.
culture shock? Was there any culture shock, or did your
Yeah.
school for that?
Um, I so in Singapore, I went to an international school where it was co-ed and everybody had come from all over Australia and like the world to be in Singapore for whatever reason. And when we moved back to Sydney, I was kind of like fed to the lions in a sense, where I went to an private all girls school in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, where things were just very different. They gave you penalty points if you didn't like have your shirt tucked in or you didn't have a ribbon in your hair. It was just, I went from this like very relaxed, very like, we love everyone, everything is fine, to like, you better have your shit together.
Wow. So it must have been sort of, was it a hard adjustment to make?
Yeah, especially because I was 15. So coming in anywhere at that age, once people have already established friendships and groups and things like that, it was always like tough to muscle your way in. But I've been the new girl so many times, so I feel like I've kind of got that routine down pat.
Uh, so let's talk a little bit about your training. Here you are, you're 15, you're here. Um, how was it? What was it like? I mean, especially if you didn't have any, was it different for you? Did you find anybody that you work with? Did you guys pair off with each other and stuff like that? I mean,
Do you mean in Australia?
yeah, and yeah, when you started acting and when you started in down, your training
Yeah.
was.
Well, again, my parents were great, and they encouraged me to go and take theater courses and drama classes outside of school as well as in school. And we have a lot of really, really great drama schools in Australia. We have NIDA, and then we have Cape Blanchett has a school down there as well. And so I kind of just did courses here and there, which really expanded my view of things. And then after school, my parents wanted me to get a degree, so I started at university. But while I was at university, I decided to create my own web series, and
Okay.
it was about law students at university because they always say write what you know, and so I feel like that was kind of like my stepping stone to come to America. I got to make this incredible web series with all of my friends, and it did really well. It got picked up by the ABC in Australia, and I got to come over to LA and come to a few festivals and stuff like that. So that was like my real introduction into things.
Your dad must have been like, well, he must have been sort of confused, right? Because here you are, he, he's like, "Wait, I thought you said you didn't want to do this, and now you are. So so you actually did come back and play a lawyer on TV.
I did. Yeah, exactly.
Now, did he watch it? Did he watch it and tell you, was he like your technical advisor?
I didn't ask him for any advice when writing it, but he watched every episode. He watches everything I do. He's so wonderful like that.
Uh, Now ABC, I believe that's a network, isn't it? Like over here in the States, we have
Yeah.
networks.
Yeah. So
ABC.
the Australian Broadcasting, yeah, company.
Okay. Uh, so did you do very much work as far as film or TV in Australia itself?
Yeah, so I was there's a soap opera called Home and Away back there, and I did a couple episodes of that. And then I was making a name for myself over there when I moved over to LA. And most of the jobs that I got when I first moved to LA were back in Australia. So I ended up spending a lot of my time just heading home, which was great. Obviously, I would never say no to work, but kind of frustrating having just moved here.
Yeah. I have there's an actor who told us a story. He lived in Kentucky, and he decided he's going to make the move out to L.A. So he flew out to L.A., got set up there, and then his agent calls, says, I want you to audition, audition for a role. So they went out there, he auditioned, he got the role. He says, oh, by the way, and he goes, well, where's the film going to be at? He goes, oh yeah, it's going to be in Kentucky. He just, he says, I just came from there.
I feel like
Um,
that's always the way.
yeah, isn't it? Isn't it like that? Oh, you're Australian. We have a project for you back in Australia. It's like, I just,
Exactly.
what was the culture shock for you? What was the culture shock for you in LA? Were you ready for it, or were you sort of like stunned by it?
Oh, LA.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest, the first year in LA was not great. I feel like LA is I love it now. It's been 6 years. I'm obsessed with it. I never want to leave, but the first year was so incredibly lonely. It's just so big and there's so much going on, but if you're not a part of it, which you can't be when you first get here, it's so isolating and it's so lonely. And I moved over with my husband and he like got a job. He's a solar engineer, and he immediately had a friendship group at work, and then he joined a soccer team, and then he immediately had a friendship group with that. But actors, you don't go to an audition and like hang out with other actors that are like vying for your job. So it was a long lonely year, but I think once you like make it through, it's the best.
Do you think it helped being married to make it through?
100%. I do not know what I would have done without him.
How did you meet your husband?
We met in high school, actually.
Okay.
Many, many moons ago, about 14 years ago. We didn't like each other at first. Well, I actually hated him. But then, 2 years later, he got me.
Yeah, isn't it? It's always like that, isn't it? Like, the opposite track.
Yes. He was just such a pest. He just would make fun of me constantly, and then one day just decided to be a decent human being, and I was like, oh, welcome.
I think that's awesome. I'm very much in favor of love. I'm sort of like that. I
Oh,
guess I'm a self-styled romantic.
me too.
Um, so how long have you guys been married?
We've been married for five years.
Yeah, just getting started.
Kind of, but we have been together for 14. So,
Right. Uh, uh, so you get to, one of the best things about it though is you get to run lines with him.
yes, that is the best thing for me. I'm not sure if he would say the same.
Uh, um, so now you're here in LA, and the first year is rough.
Mhm.
Well, how did you work on your craft? How did you advance it during that time? How did
Again,
you
I
do
kind
it?
of just immersed myself in some classes. I thought that would be the easiest and best way to get some friends. And so I did a couple. I did an improv class at Groundlings, which is like an institution that churns out some of the greatest comedians. But I did some others which I didn't love, and just something about LA as well. It's just like it can be very culty, and I found that in the couple of classes that I took, and I was just like not about it. And so I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that anymore.
I some questions popped up. We'll ask you this question for sure. We're going to get to yours, Timothy, a little bit later on in the interview. I'll ask you that for sure. Our good friend Rick is asking you what your favorite food is, and are you a good cook?
I am an okay cook, if I'm being completely honest. My favorite food is like if I was dying and I had to have one last meal, I think it would be a fish curry.
Okay, and you say you're a fair cook.
I'm okay. I don't like
Hi,
recipes.
Kaylee. You don't like what?
I don't like recipes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I get that. But
They're
how about
helpful
baking
though.
though?
So
But do you like to bake? Because baking's different from cooking.
no,
Baking's a lot more fun.
no, I don't like baking.
No.
No, baking is like
Uh,
so much more precise, and I just do not have the patience for it.
oh, okay, okay. I always, every time I ask that, I talk to someone, I say, "What do you like? You like to cook? Or you like to bake?" And more often than not, people who don't like to cook like to bake because they say it's a little bit more easier to do.
I like to eat.
As far as, okay. Uh, oh, thank you so much, Cruz. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Um, so so here you are, LA, going back again, and you're right about the auditions. So what year did you land here? Was this
To
before the
LA?
pandemic?
Yes, so I landed in 2000
Oh, she
early
froze. Let
2016.
me see if I can. No, there she is. No, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, come on, StreamYard. Yeah. How long have you been in LA?
I've been in LA for 6 years now. And so I got there in at the beginning of 2016.
Oh, yeah, StreamYard. I'm gonna try something here. See if I can unfreeze you.
Okay.
Okay, hold on 1 second. There we go. See if that works. All right, that seems to be better.
Great.
All right. Yeah, StreamYard is really goofy at times. I mean, like I said, I think it's more because of what time we're doing this at. But most of the time it just unfreezes and then unglitches itself. Um, okay, so here we go. So now, how long have you been in LA?
I've been here for 6 years.
6 years. So you were here before the pandemic, obviously. So
I was, yes.
as far as the auditioning aspect of things go, do you like it better now versus to when you got here? Because now, back then, you're right. I mean, you're traveling to all these auditions, you're doing faces to face.
Yeah.
It's easier to do self tapes for you.
Mhm.
I can imagine that. What was the first thing you booked when you got here?
It was a film called Monsters of Man.
Oh, that was your first.
It
Way to,
was. That was my
way to-
first feature film ever. And it couldn't have come at a better time because, as I said, I was like questioning everything that I'd ever done in my life that led me to this place. And then, yeah, I got that role in Monsters of Man, which you can still watch on Amazon Prime for free if you haven't seen it. And I got to go to Cambodia for 2 months and have the time of my life.
Yeah, wow, that I was looking at your when I was looking at your the movies that you'd done. When I saw that, I clicked on it, and then I was like, "Holy cow!" Because you got to act with Neal McDonough, and he's one of my favorites.
Oh,
He's a
really?
Yeah, he's a great actor.
He is.
He's a great actor, and he seems to be a very good human being. And on top of that,
Yes.
um, do you know the story about him?
I'm not sure.
So Neal McDonough, he could. This is really interesting because he's the only person I've ever heard of this happening in Hollywood.
Okay.
Only person I know. So he's known more as a character actor, right? He
Mhm.
can do lead, but he does leads like in action movies or like science fiction or whatever war movies. But he doesn't do. He's handsome enough to do leads, and they've asked him to do lead roles. He doesn't. He says no because he won't do a romantic movie because he will not have any scenes other than with his he won't kiss another actress. He only will stay faithful to his wife.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, no kissing. He doesn't kiss any of his leading ladies or nothing. If you go
Wait,
back and
wasn't
watch
he in he was in Desperate Housewives. He never kissed his wife in Desperate Housewives?
he never kissed the actress who no, he doesn't do those.
Wow.
Yeah. This is really it's really unique.
Yes, it
And that's
is.
fun. That's why he does a lot of action movies and westerns and stuff like that because he won't do that. So, what was it like? You said you loved Cambodia. Um,
Mhm.
what was it like filming there? I mean, was it how did you like the country and did you have what kind of experiences did you have?
It was hot,
I
very
bet.
hot. We had the pleasure of traveling around the country. So we landed in Siem Reap. We were there for a few weeks, and we kind of did the Tomb Raider tour of Cambodia. We filmed at all of the different locations that Tomb Raider 1 had filmed at. So we filmed at like Angkor Wat, and then we went to the caves in Kampot, and then we went to Phnom Penh and filmed around there as well. So we got to do all of these like wonderful cultural experiences for work, which was just a blast. But in saying that, when we got picked up from the airport, our producer was like, when you get sick, and you will get sick, call me. I've got all the medication. And it wasn't like, here's how you avoid getting sick. It was like, you will fall. And when you fall, this is what we can do to help you. And so you obviously can't drink the water there. And you have to avoid it at all costs. So you can't really eat fresh salads or anything because you never know when things are being washed in the water. And I thought I was being
Right.
like hella careful, but day 2, the gastro got me and I was sick for the first 3 days of filming. So it was a rough
Yeah.
start.
Now, yeah, I can imagine. Now, this is your first feature film, and was it anything different than what you expected it to be?
Yes and no. I found that nothing in life is what I expect it to be. And so I kind of try not to have any expectations. I had as much fun as I thought I would. It took as long as I thought it would. But I could have never imagined how close I would have come to the people that I was working with. Like I consider them family. I talk to them all the time, and it's already been 5 years.
Now, you do know that's really unusual too, because that's one of the questions I like to ask because I see that all the time. You always see a production, and they always will sit there and they'll say, so and so's like family. We're family. We're family. We're family. And a lot of times, I would ask, I'll ask an actor. I say, so do you stay in touch with any of your castmates after that particular movie? And for
Mhm.
the most part, they always say, "Oh, we'll see each other once in a while, or once in a while we'll text." But it's
Mhm.
not nearly anything that you expect it to be. Like, okay, I thought you guys, I guess it's just the nature of the business. Like you come together for an intense experience, making a movie or show, and then you bond over that, and then as soon as it goes, then you go your separate ways. It's just
Yeah,
I like that. I like the fact the idea you guys stayed in touch.
absolutely.
I think it.
Sorry.
Oh no, it just froze up on me again. Here, let me see if I can fix this. Oh my gosh, this is terrible tonight.
Do you want me to leave and come back in?
Okay. Yeah, we're here. We're here.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, StreamYard, like I said, it's sometimes it's an angel, it's really good, and then sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Um, so but that's not the first time you've been to Cambodia, has it? Because I think he did. I think they made Great White off of Vietnam, didn't they?
No, Great White came out a few years after Monsters of Man, and that was actually filmed in Brisbane in Australia.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I think there's like a couple of movies that came out with Great White, and Yeah, I thought that's what happened. I thought it was filmed in Vietnam, so I guess I was wrong about that. Hey, Ken.
No.
Um, okay, well, I don't want to get to Great White quite yet. So,
Okay.
the experience that you had in doing Monsters of Man, I mean, what did you take out of that in terms as far as your career goes? What are the three things you learned the most that you took with you?
So up until that point, I had only done little bits and pieces in TV shows, and I never had to really maintain a character for an entire film. And so that was a huge learning experience in kind of maintaining that character and actually having an arc and making sure that arc is realized by the end of the film. So that was number one. Number two, never drink the water in Cambodia.
Yeah,
And number three, as far as my career, I think just being being nice on set, being it sounds so simple, but being someone people want to be around because we were there for 2 months straight, living in each other's pockets. And, inevitably, like there are disagreements and whatever, but on the whole, everyone was pretty great. And there were a couple people who weren't. And it's, I don't ever want to work with them again. And making a lasting impression on a show, like a film like that, like that's important because you never know when you'll get the opportunity to work with people again.
yeah, I agree. Um, it's good to have professionals. You know, you have. I mean, for your first film, like I said, you come out and you get to work with someone like Neal McDonough. I
Mhm.
mean, to me, it's like you look at that, and that's a good role model because you see how professional he is and he conducts himself and whatnot. And you sit there,
Absolutely.
and you can just sit there and go like, "Yep, that's how it's supposed to be," and makes it easier. It makes it
Yes.
easier for everybody. Yeah,
Yes.
once in a while, yeah, it's just like anywhere else. You got your bumps and bruises as far as that goes. With your personality clashes.
Yeah.
Um, I personally don't understand. Like the method acting thing is like, I'm all right with that. As far as you staying in character and whatnot. If you don't want to
Mm.
do that, but it's like okay, it's like to me, it's like there's a time where you could do that, and then there's a time where you don't do that. And it's like like when you sit down and you eat with your castmates and turn it
I
off.
agree.
Become a, I don't want to. I want to see who I'm working with as far as the human goes. I mean,
So,
but if you want to, and it's like someone who wants to stay locked in a character all the way through. It's just like I don't get that. I never have. I guess I
I
just
I agree. I don't get that, but it is some people's process. And, being on set is always such an interesting experience. It's kind of like a high school where like all different types of people are kind of forced to be together. And, there's like egos flying around. Or sorry, this is my dog, Molly.
oh hi Molly.
He has
Uh,
to be with me at all times.
everybody's saying hello to Molly. Kylie,
Hello.
Kaylee says she wants to visit Australia. Me too.
Yes,
Uh,
it's a wonderful place. Go.
let's see. Timothy's saying, oh, Timothy's saying, Tatiana, you were fantastic as Sarah Burke in Shelter in Place.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I think that
And
was
I
my
also
favorite
know that was your favorite project.
project.
Uh, okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, it was my favorite project for a lot of reasons. It happened at the height of the pandemic, so just as LA was locking down, I got a phone call that was like, "Hey, do you want to do a movie?" And that was kind of when I was like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? Like the industry's shut," and I jumped on that opportunity. And it was when there were all of those laws where you could only have 10 people on set at any given time. So it was a tiny, tiny cast and crew. And we had the pleasure of filming at the Roosevelt Hotel. And this was like, again, I just felt so lucky because it was like when nobody was working, you know what I mean? And I like was sitting there being like, wow, am I ever going to work again? And then this opportunity arose and I jumped on it because it was just such a fantastic opportunity. And I got to work with like you said, like so many professionals, and I got to learn from them. I got to work with Kevin Daniels, and he's just such a star, and I learned so much from everyone on set.
That's yeah. Were you surprised? Were you surprised to see that people were working during the pandemic? I mean, were you when you got the call, when you sit there and say, "Come do this," and were you surprised to see? Because that's one thing. That's another thing. I'm really am. There's a lot of people that were doing a lot of work during the pandemic. They weren't just
Yeah.
sitting. Yeah, isn't it crazy? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
stunned. I'm stunned by it.
But I was like thrilled because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck, what am I going to do for like, remember when it was only going to be 2 weeks? And like, even then I was like 2 weeks because I was actually in Armenia when the pandemic hit with Michael Caissie filming Purgatory. And we were supposed to be there for another month. And I was like, oh no, like when are we ever going to finish this show? Am I ever going to work again? And then obviously the opportunity arose, and we also went back to Armenia and finished the show, so everything worked out.
So Shelter in Place basically is a movie about the pandemic.
It is. It's about this couple that's on a honeymoon and they get stuck in the hotel and all of these nefarious things start happening. But what I love the most about filming that film was because it was like so quick. Basically, the producer was bored and wanted to make a film. And we essentially, every single scene was dramatic improvisation. So we had an overall storyline and arc, but as we'd go into each scene, it would just be improv. And I'd never done that before. And also, I was working with like professional TV actors like Kevin Daniels and Brendan Hines. And so I was like, shit, am I going to be able to do this? I was kind of like, I'm ready to just hold onto their coattails and go for the ride. But it was just so much fun because we just got to play every single scene.
Right. And that empowered you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like the improv now? Are you pretty fierce with it now? You like to do it?
I do like to do it.
Yeah.
The part of like improv, dramatic improvisation, I've never had an issue with. It's just comedic improvisation because I think I'm like funny enough, but there are people who are so good at it, and so that's what makes me nervous.
Um, yeah, how it's always like that, isn't it? It's like it's I've said this many times. I'm sure a lot of people here will hear, they know what I'm going to say, but it is true. It's easier for comedy actors to do drama than it
Yeah,
is for drama actors to do comedy.
absolutely.
Uh, but wow, what an exciting what an exciting opportunity, and I love the fact that that seems to be a lot of common theme too. Like they were just bored there because you guys are creative.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I ask people when I was asking people, I would ask them, how did you stay creative during the pandemic? Because if you just sat there and weren't doing anything, I just don't think a lot of people would come out of it very well.
Yes.
Because you basically take it away, like half their personality,
Yeah.
and that could not be good. So for you to get a chance to for you to get it, well, it'd be like it's like, I guess the creativity is it's like a sixth sense.
Mhm.
If you gotta if you took it away, then it's like taking away sight or sound or touch. Um, so there you go. You got a chance to stay creative and stay sane.
Yeah,
um,
it was such a blessing. I can't tell you.
Timothy saying you're a very talented actress.
Thank you.
We only get the best here on 8 Questions With. I'm telling you. Uh, so I want to talk about the shark movie too because we're shark fans here. We like
Okay,
shark.
great.
We love shark movies.
I like
Yeah,
shark movies too.
I mean, you have no idea how much we like shark movies. Uh, uh, so how did you get the role in Great White?
So actually one of the producers of Monsters of Man was a producer on Great White as well, and she invited me to audition and I got the role.
Now I have not seen the movie. I have not.
Mhm.
So, but this will lead into a different question if you answer it. Um,
Okay.
Now, did your character make it?
What do you want me to spoil it?
Well, No, but at the same time, I want to ask you a question about it. So I guess I'm gonna have to,
Uh,
the fan says no, but the journalist says yes. So,
no, I do not make it.
oh,
Yeah.
ooh.
It was my first death.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. That's why I had to
Mhm.
ask you. So what was it like playing your first death scene?
It was awesome. You know how like I don't know if this is what normal people do, or if it's just because I'm crazy, but I sometimes think of like scenarios of what would happen if the worst thing in the world happened. And I have often been in the water in Australia, been like, what if a shark just came out of nowhere and chased me? What would I do? So I actually got to live that out. But funnily enough, they didn't have like obviously the entire automated shark. They just had these little fins, and then they had men with scuba gear on underneath, just like swimming with these little fins. So it wasn't as scary as I imagined it would be. But I got to where I needed to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, when people think about great white sharks, it's the first place they think of is Australia.
Yeah.
That's more than anywhere else, even more so than the United States. It's the
Hmm.
first time someone says great white shark and in Australia. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, so so you got killed by a shark. So
Yes.
yeah, how many times now? How long did it take to film?
I was only there for a week.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because I die.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, that must have been. I mean, how did your friends and family do when they watched the film? Did they say he died well, or did they sit there and go like, "Oh hell no, you didn't die, did you?"
Well, the funny thing is I feel like I'm gonna completely ruin the film now, but I'm at the beginning of the film with my husband, and we're just like frolicking and swimming, and then you see him die, but then you don't see me die, and then these other characters come in and they try to find me for most of the film, and then they do find me, and I'm dead.
Well,
So you don't actually see the shark eat me.
no, we just see your body later on.
Yes.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, at least we didn't get to see you die. I think we can handle that. Because though it is traumatic though. It is. See, now that we know this, see that when we watch this movie, now we want to now we won't see you die. And
Well, the
so,
thing was that everybody was all of my friends and family because I didn't tell them what happened were holding hope. They're like, "Oh my god, they're gonna find her at the end. It's gonna be so great." And then they just find my body, and they were like, "What?
yeah,
Oh my god!"
yeah. Who's the screenwriter again? Where's he been at? What's his address?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, now you said that was your first death.
Mm.
Now that sort of leads into that sort of like that's your first, but it's not your last one. Then I take it.
No, no, not at all. I've had a
Oh
couple
my.
since then.
Okay, so what's harder for you to do, a death scene or a romantic scene?
You know, probably the romantic scene.
Really?
I yes, I would say so.
Wow. Because I would think that being killed by a shark would be like the zenith of being killed. It's like be like, do I have to get killed by that way? Can I die some other way? No, you're gonna killed by a shark. Okay. So how's being a romantic lead in a romantic situation tougher?
It's just dealing with I guess like when you're dying, you kind of are just like by yourself and you're like dealing with it yourself. Whereas like when you're a romantic lead, you have this whole other person to consider at every single moment, and you don't know how they're always going to react. And it's just like more complicated. You know what I mean? I feel like death is pretty final. Even when you get shot, you're like, oh, and then eventually you're dead.
Right.
Whereas like if you have a romantic scene, there's like a million different ways you can tackle it.
So walk us through your first romantic scene. Now we talked about your death scene, but let's talk about your first time you had to do a romantic scene. What project was it, and what role did you play?
It was actually in my web series. I was one of the lead characters in that, and she has sex with her ex-boyfriend in the bathroom, and that was the first time I'd ever really done a sex scene.
Oh my, okay. I didn't. Yeah, that's a little different from a romance scene. I mean, yeah,
Yes, it
yeah,
is. Okay, so that wasn't the question you asked.
yeah. The sex scene is like, oh, that's a tough. Yeah, but Australian TV and series, you guys allowed nudity on your TV on your shows, right?
I'm not sure, but to be clear, there was no nudity in this scene.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I don't want to ask any questions about that. But so. But let's, you know what? Listen, I'm not going to play that. Let's just, okay. So but you see, you had a scene with your ex-boyfriend.
Mm,
That happens a lot with exes, though.
mhm.
There's a spark there. So yeah,
Yes.
I can see that happening as they see each other, they have feelings for each other. It's not just like they don't know each other and just going to go ahead and shag in the
Right.
bathroom. You guys
Right.
have a chemistry and you had a history. So it is
Mhm.
sort of I wouldn't say it's a walk down the aisle romance moment, but there's still some heart into that scene.
Absolutely. It was a build up over like 10 episodes.
Okay, well that's a love scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's call it that.
I would probably suggest maybe The Office next time instead of the bathroom, but that's just me. When you do the sequel, um, okay, so you did that scene, and you created this. So
I did.
you wrote that scene into the series. Now,
I
did
did.
you cast your whole cast, or did you have professional casting director do it for you?
I well, we had a production company and we all kind of had a role to play in every aspect of the production. So, yes, I had a role to play in the casting process, but it wasn't my decision. It was between the six of us.
Um, so you picked the gentleman who was going to be your ex-boyfriend. That
Mhm.
must have helped out a lot because you knew that person, you did an audition with them.
Yeah.
So now, what's it like doing a scene like that where you have no control at all?
Oh, you mean on like different projects?
Yeah,
It's interesting for sure.
yeah,
Um, but you just kind of got to tackle it like you would a death scene. You just got to go in there and make it believable, I suppose.
right, right. It must have been now before you got married versus or actually you're with your boyfriend and before you got married or whatnot. Did he ever talk to you about it, or did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Did he accept it for like there's rules. People don't understand this, but there are rules when you do this. There's no
Yes.
French kissing. Don't French kiss.
Yeah.
Don't smoke.
No,
Don't drink.
absolutely. There are
Yeah.
definitely rules. And well, the first ever like real acting project that I did was on that soap opera in Australia called Home and Away, and the first scene I ever did had a kiss, and I was with my husband at the time, even back then, and he didn't take it well. I think he drank himself into oblivion that night. But I was kind of like we were 18 at that point, and I was like, "Listen, like this is what I wanna do with my life, like, it's just a part of it which sucks," and I, like, completely understand where he's coming from. Like, I'm not like, "Oh, get over it." Like, I would not be okay with it at all if he was over there kissing other people. So, I tried to reassure him in every way that I can.
Now it sort of makes you appreciate the Neal McDonough story a little bit more.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's why he doesn't do it. He's married. This is the woman he married, and he says, I'll do anything that you want me to do, but I won't kiss another woman on screen. I just won't do that. I'll do anything
It's
else you
amazing.
want me to do." It is. I mean, like I said, he's lost roles because of it, but
Yeah.
he doesn't care. And when you go back and you read his movies about how he does it, you could just tell that man is just madly in love with his wife. I mean, I I
Oh,
I can totally relate to that.
oh,
Being
that's
being
wonderful.
yeah. I mean. So I think it's awesome. Okay, so now we did your first romantic scene, and then we talked about your first death scene. So let's talk about Michael Caissie. How did you meet him, and how did you get involved in Purgatory? And you just got nominated for an award, and
I did. Michael Caissie is the best. Let me just
he is.
preface everything with that. I auditioned. I sent in a self-tape for Purgatory first, and then they brought me in to do a chemistry read with Eric Fellows, who ended up being my co-star. And then we got brought in to do a table read, and that's where I first met Michael. But there were like a bunch of actors standing around a table, and all of the producers who I had met in the chemistry read, but I'd never met him before. So I kind of went up to him and I was just like, "And who are you playing?" And he was like, "I'm playing the director." And I was like, "Oh my God, hi." So that was our first interaction.
Yeah, I love Michael too. He is so freaking talented.
Yes, it's absurd.
Yeah, he's a gifted writer, and I can't wait. I hope that Purgatory gets released on home market because I really want to see it. I also know he
Every
also
single frame of both Purgatory and No Tears in Hell is just an artwork.
Yeah. I can't because he also wrote a series called Death Squad, and that's I met him through a movie called Hunter's Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And
The werewolf movie.
Yes, the werewolf movie. So yeah, I met him through the werewolf movie, and then I found out that he wrote Death Squad, and I'm friends with 3 of the guys that were in that movie, and
Oh, no way.
I've been friends with them before I met Michael.
Small world.
It's it is a weird small world, totally. Now, well, tell us what Purgatory is about. And you had a film in Armenia, right?
So Purgatory was in Armenia. Yeah.
Now, briefly, without going into too much, because I don't want to spoil everything. But yeah,
I'm like, I die in that one too.
Well, yeah, but I think you have to die to go to Purgatory, right?
Right.
Right. So yeah, well, I think everybody understands that.
In a nutshell, Purgatory is about these 12 strangers who are lured to this fictional place called Shambhala under the pretense that they've been invited to this like exclusive hotel opening. And part of the whole hotel opening weekend is that they get a tour of the grounds, and part of the tour of the grounds is going into this tunnel. And my character Lisa is one of the people that doesn't want to go into the tunnel because it's kind of like a bunker. Like they open it up and then we're looking down and they're like, "Okay, let's go inside." And I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not going in there." But eventually everyone's like, "Come on, Lisa, like it'll be so fun, blah, blah, blah." We get into the tunnel, and then of course, whoever was outside closes the tunnel, and then we're stuck in there. And over the course of the show, it's revealed little by little that none of it is a coincidence. We are not actually strangers. We've all kind of been embroiled in this murder that happened a few years prior. And this was someone exacting revenge.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, did Michael tell you about the time where we filmed Death Squad in Armenia?
Yeah. So we filmed, and it was kind of like the same crew. So there was a lot of overlap there.
But you didn't have to go into the salt mine, though.
No, we just had to go into the caves.
Yeah. He tell you about the salt mine?
I'm not sure.
It's like 70 stories down.
Oh, actually, yes, he did tell me about that.
With one elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was marginally better. This was only like a couple stories down.
Yeah. I don't, I'm not claustrophobic, but I have a feeling that I would have got down 70 stories down underneath a mountain, or, I probably would have been like wondering what I was doing.
Yeah.
So you got nominated for now Purgatory 2. The second season's coming out. Will you return for the second season?
Yes,
Okay, awesome. Now you got nominated for an award. So tell us about that. And is this your first nomination?
it is. So this is for the Indie Series Awards, and they're being held in April, which is extremely exciting because they haven't been held for the last few years because of COVID, obviously. But this is them coming back with a bang. Red carpet, award ceremony, everything. So I am thrilled to be nominated and to be going. And I think we got 4 nominations for the show. We got best drama, um, best lead female actress, and best male actor times 2.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, have you won any awards at all for your acting, or will this be your first time to win? Because you
No,
will.
I hope so, but I have had the pleasure of winning some other awards. I actually won best female actress in a horror in last year's Fright Fest, and that was for Shelter in Place. And my web series won a bunch of awards as well.
You must be yeah. And then now that you're going back to there, now you're going back to Armenia. I mean, did you apply the same lessons you did in Cambodia? And when are you supposed to go back?
Oh, we went back and we finished it, so we're all
It's already done. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Good. I was gonna say it might be a little dicey going back there now to still film anything.
We we went at an even dicier time, honestly. We went this time last year to do the second season. And obviously COVID was not over because it's still not over. But Armenia had just had the war with Azerbaijan, so there was a lot of ramifications from that. And because of that, they didn't really care about COVID, but we still had strict COVID policies on set. And so people were kind of testing positive left, right, and center. Every single time someone did, everyone would have to quarantine for like 5 days. And it was chaos.
Wow. Yeah, they got their nose bloodied over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it make it? Did that make it for a tense working environment, knowing that you were working around so close a small war like that?
Well, it was over by that point. So I know it was like my knee-jerk reaction when they were like, you got to go back. I was like, really? Are we really feeling safe about that? But the producers and Michael made us all feel really safe. So I never felt in danger.
Good, good. Now, how did you like your character? How did you prepare to play her?
I loved my character. I actually got to start off being this kind of like prissy little princess who was an army brat. And they're my favorite characters to play. The spoiled little, like, I'm not going down into that cave ill, no. And over the 2 seasons, you see her transform into the badass that she always was, but didn't know she could be. And I just really enjoy subverting audiences' perceptions of my characters.
Do you find yourself being typecast? The stunning Australian bombshell. I mean, does that happen?
I have found myself being typecast in that kind of specific, like, female character that starts off where everyone thinks she's weak and a bit of a princess, and then she transforms into a much tougher person than anyone knew she could be.
What are your favorite what are your favorite types of role to play? Do you like to play the lawyer type, or are you more onto the action? Do you feel like you want to do more action and adventure, or?
Yeah, I mean, I love it all. I've done a lot of horror at this point in my life now. So I'd love to do a comedy or a rom-com would be so fun, only because I haven't really had the opportunity to delve into that. And I like, growing up, horror was my favorite genre. So to be able to do so many films and act within it has been a complete dream come true. I grew up watching, obviously, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legends. They were all my favorite types of films. And I always wanted to be the final girl. And I've done that, and I'm so stoked about it. But yeah, I'm ready to do something a little more lighthearted.
Yeah, I could get that. Do you like Christmas?
I like Christmas.
You should tell your agent to start putting you out toward like the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually ask them, because they're doing so many of them. They do like about 30 to 40 a year, and there's another station, another network here that's starting to do it too. Plenty of opportunity. Do you find you have a lot more opportunity now because of streaming? Streaming has actually helped you, or is it a little bit of a hindrance?
No, it's obviously good in the fact that obviously there's far more opportunities. But at the same time, I think, to answer a question you kind of asked earlier, pre-COVID, you go into an audition, these people are watching you, you've made an impression on them, good or bad. You know what I mean? Like, you go in there, you're in person. With self-tapes, you send them in, and honestly, you have no idea if they watch them or not.
No.
So even if there are more opportunities, it's less stable, I think, because we're still not really going in for in-person auditions, because and you just don't know if your tapes are being watched or not.
Yeah, that's got to be really maddening. But I mean, I think after a while though, you'll get a sense if they are or not, because like if you're getting like before, if you're getting calls back and people were and your manager was talking to you, and your agent was talking to you a lot more than it is now, then the self tape is working against you, and then you can make adjustments. Then you can make adjustments. You can sit there and say, listen, I'm going to go in front of people. That's obviously worked for me in the past. So try, try to send me to those auditions so I can make a first impression.
It's so much easier to connect with someone in person.
I think so too. I mean, I know for them it's easier because they can see a lot more people by self tapes, but just because you see a lot more people doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best people.
Right. And I'm not sure, like, I don't envy the casting directors either, because they get so many submissions, like thousands of submissions. So I think their job has gotten a little bit harder as well. And also with the self-tapes, you usually in an audition, you go in, you do it the way you plan to do it, and then they give you feedback and you adjust accordingly. Whereas like with a self-tape, you're kind of just taking a stab in the dark. Because there'll be times where you go in there and like you'll have a scene with this other person, and you've like read some sexual tension or something in there, and the casting director will be like, no, he's more like an older brother to you. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That completely changes everything.
Right.
You just don't have that feedback anymore.
Yeah, so you like you said, you've had a lot of experience in doing horror films, and you just completed another one, which I took a peek at, and it sounds absolutely it sounds really good. Actually, I'm sitting there looking at it going like, this is going to be interesting. So talk to us a little bit about Don't Blink.
Oh, Never Blink. Yes.
Never Blink.
I'm excited about that one. We filmed it in the middle of last year, and it's about a group of scientists who essentially, well, a fun fact is that we spend 48 minutes of every single day blinking. So 48 minutes of every single day we blink and we're in darkness. But our brains actually piece together what we should be seeing. And so what we're actually seeing when we blink is not actually there. And these scientists are delving into what we actually see when we're blinking. And it kind of leads into a multi-dimensional side story and monsters.
Is it a combination of horror, science fiction?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I love those.
Me too.
And do you live? Oh, I'm just asking because they're going to ask me that anyway.
I don't think I can say because it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I don't think you can tell us. We don't want to know. I just let that slip out. I mean, I just know somebody there was going to ask us about it. So yes, she lives. Okay. Okay. Going back to that, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going like, well, wait a minute. She said that her character did not make it in the first season of Purgatory. Is so now that got me curious. I want to go back and touch that basis with you again about that. It's like, is Purgatory, because I know what Purgatory is, the literal
Right.
Purgatory. Is that's where it's going to go the next season.
Oh, well, I meant the second season's already out. So I died at the end of that one.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought it went into a spiritual type of thing. There's a cowboy movie once where these guys are all riding the town, and they slowly figure out that the town they're in is actually purgatory, literally a
Right.
purgatory. Yeah, so that's what I thought that's what I thought. Um, so where do you want to go for the rest of the year? I mean, are you up for any projects that you hope to land?
Yeah, I've just been auditioning. It's pilot season, so it's funny because you go from like such different films to different TV shows to different accents. Like in one week, I had to do like a Russian and a British and an Australian and an American. And then I just have to like forget about them because I just can't get too hung up on things. So it's been good. No projects in line just yet, but I do hope to go to Australia this year. I haven't been home in like 2.5 years.
Right.
So I would like to go home and see my family.
I'm sure they would like to see you too.
Yes.
Um, now, what do you like to do when you're not acting and you're auditioning and whatnot? What do you guys do for fun and recreation?
We've kind of been doing a tour of America, like slowly ticking off all of the different places around America, which has been so much fun. A few weeks ago, we went to Miami and the Florida Keys, and we went scuba diving and parasailing. And then just this weekend, we went to Alaska and we went skiing. So we're like very outdoorsy, and America is just full of so many beautiful national parks. And, like being in California, you can go from the beach to the like snowy mountains.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You can't do that in Australia at all.
Have you been to Lake Arrowhead yet?
I have, yes, it's
Yeah,
stunning.
it is. I actually grew up in Southern California.
Hmm.
I grew up in a town called Ontario.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I know Southern California a little bit. So it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you like it. Even though the freeways are crazy though, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I hear it's now like 6 or 7 lanes now across some of the freeways.
And it's still not enough.
Um, what do you like best about LA, and what do you don't like about it?
I feel like LA has this like crazy magical feel that anything can happen at any given moment. And it's true. I've seen it happen over and over again. Like you will be having just like a regular day and then you'll get a phone call and it'll be like the most incredible news. And that night you're like front row at the Adam Sandler comedy pop up or something like that. So I just feel like, yeah, there's just a sense of like anything can happen here. What do I hate about LA? Probably the traffic.
Yeah, traffic's wicked bad. I
It
know
would just
downtown.
it would
What?
just be so great if there was like public transport.
Yeah, RTD gets overwhelmed. It gets overwhelmed. The
Mhm.
rapid transit district. Yeah, you see, it gets. It's just there's not enough buses for the people. I
Right.
mean, there's buses everywhere, but it's just still not enough. Uh, what's the one thing that surprised you most about it? I mean, as far as LA goes, I mean, you have your perceptions, and then when you got there, and the reality of it is,
Yeah, so I feel like LA to the rest of the world has like really bad PR. It's like, especially in Australia, it's people think that it's disgusting, that it's just full of homeless people, and that it's dirty and it's just not beautiful at all. And I make such a point of it when people do travel over from Australia because nobody wants to come here. They're just like, why would I go there? I'd go to New York or somewhere beautiful. And I'm like, come to LA. I promise you. I will show you how beautiful it is because it is everywhere you look, it's beautiful. You just have to know like where to go and also have a car. Most people come and they don't have a car and then they're stuck wherever they are, or they go straight to Hollywood, which is like instinctively what you think LA is, but it's not.
No, no. Hollywood is actually quite different from what people think it is.
Yeah.
Um, Beverly Hills is very tiny.
Mhm.
Rodeo Drive is almost like an alleyway. It's
Right.
just, yeah. I mean, you're there. If you go there and you want to go there, I want to go there and look around, and you're gonna be gone. You're gonna be done in about 35 minutes.
Right. Like the Walk of Fame. You're like, okay, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna open up. Let's see. Acting wise, do you want to write or direct?
I've had the opportunity to do both. I don't ever wanted to direct again. I hated it. But writing is a huge passion of mine, and I'm actually trying to get a couple of my own projects off the ground at the moment.
Um, what's your process for writing? Do you set time aside every day, or during the week? Where
No,
you
because I want to enjoy it. It's not my chosen. Like I'm not putting any pressure on it. I like make money otherwise, so I do it just to be creative, and so I do it when I feel inspired.
Okay? I'm sure you did a lot of writing during the pandemic.
I did.
Yeah. Uh, now, did you when you write? I mean, do you have like different projects going on at the same time, or you just concentrate on just on one and just getting it through?
Yeah, usually I haven't written that many projects, but the ones I have, I'm like super proud of. I get tunnel vision because I'm just so inspired and it could be anything, a song or the way this guy looks that day. Or I know this sounds so wishy washy, but it truly, like, I just get hit with this lightning bolt of inspiration and I can't get it out of my mind until I've written it down. And so I kind of have this tunnel vision until I'm done with that project.
Now, do you have a writer's box?
A writer's box?
Uh-huh. Where you write
What's
the
that?
stuff that's in progress, you put it in a little box, and you come back and revisit it.
No, I will just write it.
Oh, from start to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of times people will sit there after a couple hours. They might hit a bump or a wall, and they'll sit there and say, or they just can't get it going, and they'll sit there and just take it out. You know what? I'm just going to put it aside here.
Uh-huh.
I'll come back and revisit it. During the cold.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
have to like get it all out. And even if I don't do all the dialogue and everything, I'll just be like, this is what happens in this scene. And then I'll continue.
I agree. It's very good to be focused. I'm not a gifted writer myself. I write, but I'm not gifted at it. I mean, it's not a natural thing. I have to
Okay.
fight through it. I have to fight through it every time I do it. I have to be
Yeah.
like, you have to be inspired. Once I
Yeah.
am, then it can go. But it's getting there. It's not quite like writer's block, but it's
Hmm.
like once you just got to get it going. Like two words become four, become eight, become
Yeah.
16, and then go. But it's just getting to that first two that's sometimes a struggle.
But once you
Um,
get there, there's no greater feeling, is there?
right, right. Um, so do you get distracted easy, or can you write with in a busy do you write at home, or do you go down to a coffee shop or a bookstore and write?
No, I write at home. Yeah, I don't think, again, like if I am fully inspired, I feel like I could just put some headphones in and write anywhere. But if I'm not, then forget it. I have
Right.
to like have total silence. I need like nothing to be going on. I can't even have my phone on.
Let's see. Timothy's saying that he lives in Canada. Have you ever filmed a movie in Canada yet?
I haven't. I haven't filmed a movie in Canada, but I'd love to.
Yeah, Canada's a great place to film films. Well,
Mhm.
if you tell your manager to start putting you for the Hallmark movies, you'll be
Oh,
spending a
'cause they're
lot
up
of time.
there? Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
wonderful. Also, it's like easy for Australians to go work up there, so hopefully that works in my favor.
Um, where do you want? Where do you see as far as the challenges you want to overcome? Is there anything out there that you see as a challenge that you want to work to overcome to improve your craft or?
I really, really, really want to do a romantic comedy. I would like to prove to myself that I can do that. I've proven to myself that I can scream, cry, carry on. I can do that part of things, but I would really love the opportunity to prove to myself that I can be funny, because it's just like not some like you said, people who can do that can do drama, but people who do drama can't necessarily do that. And I have been training and I've been doing a lot of classes, comedy classes and things like that. And it is a completely different beast. So I would love the opportunity to like apply everything that I've learned and just like show myself that I can do it.
Yeah, comedy. I don't know what it is. It is a different beast.
It's timing, man. Like everything is timing.
See, we love Australians. You're always welcome. Yes, yes.
Thank
If you
you.
shadow any three actors or actresses to watch them work, what three would you pick and why?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good question. Um, hmm. Well, my childhood hero was Julia Roberts. So I'd love to shadow her. Meryl Streep, obviously. And then I'd love to just shadow Leonardo DiCaprio. I think that he would be just so much fun to watch and see like what his process is.
Um, I actually would love to. You know who I'd like to watch? I'd like to really watch Russell Crowe work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, I
He'd
like
be
to.
interesting too. I think anyone of that level would just be such a blast to see what they do.
Because Australia has. Do you guys? Is this? It's. I mean, if you went back to work in Australia, right? Do you think Australians? Do you think their acting community is it diverse enough as far as giving young actors a chance, or do you think it's still too top heavy with the same actors always getting the same roles?
Yeah, I haven't been I'm not in it anymore, so I'm not like 100%, but when I left, it was very, very insular. But I think the last 6 years globally have kind of spotlighted the fact that there needs to be more inclusivity generally, whether that's gender or race or ability or whatever. So I'm hoping that it's changed. I think now that a lot of productions are being filmed in Australia. Netflix has like offices down there now. More opportunity usually leads to more opportunities for lesser known actors. So I'm I'm hoping.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because I that's one of the things I always ask because it seems like, especially in the UK, it seems like every major role that comes up is always the same 10 actors that get it. And
Yeah.
to me, it's just like, wow, if what about all the younger actors? They're sitting, like they're sitting at the bit. They're trying to get to that level, but it seems like every time there's a new major project, you always hear the same old names. And while they're really good entertainers, and not taking anything away from them, but it's sort of nice to have other people get an opportunity.
100%. I think there still needs to be more of that. And unfortunately, I think that COVID made it worse because I don't know if you've noticed this, but like watching films lately, like there are like AAA listers playing tiny little roles that usually would go to, you know,
Character. Yeah,
yeah, like anyone. And it's just like, well, where do we get to go?
right. But it seems like there's a again it seems to be a lot more opportunity though, because there's a lot of shows that are coming on, and I'll be honest with you, I mean there's a lot of shows that come on that there's actors in there I have never heard of. I've never even heard of them at all.
But
uh
that's awesome, right?
it is awesome. It is, because because it needs fresh blood, and to
Yeah.
get a chance to discover new faces. And that's
Hmm.
really what it should be about. And you're right. I mean, you're right. There are a lot of A-listers that are, I don't know whether they're slumming, or I don't, because be honest with them, I don't think a lot of them need the work. So I think they do slum. And
There was this like perception a little while ago that if you did smaller roles, then people would think less of you. Like, even if you weren't fully established, they were like, no, don't do a co-star role because then people won't think that you're able to do a leading role. But that's like with COVID, that's just like flown out the window, and it's a free for all. And I think because for the longest time people weren't working, there was like a whole year where no one was doing anything.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
everyone is just taking what they can get, which I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating.
Kaylee says, Tatiana, you are blessed. Very beautiful, very talented, very intelligent. I hope your entire life is full of wonderment and that your dreams come true.
Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much.
That's a great way for us to end this. Well, you know what though, let me give a chance for the guys to get in the chat to, if you guys have any questions for Tatiana, Phil, go ahead and drop them down there, and we'll ask her. We'll ask her the questions that you guys dropped. So, yeah, let's do that. This is starting to be quite fun.
I'm ready.
I see that. Yeah. I was, like I said, there. I have a few other podcasters. We all talk among ourselves, sort of how actors talk among themselves.
Uh-huh.
And we always talk about, like, what's the worst that could happen, other than a technical glitch, where it's like, I've had an interview where I started it and then the whole thing just went to hell. It just crashed. Uh, they're also very impressed that you have a law degree.
Oh, thank you. It's 5 years of my life.
Well, and you at least have something to fall back on, right?
Yes. I know people are like, do you regret getting it? I'm like, why would I ever regret getting a law degree?
No, I think more people should probably, I've talked to other actors too that have actually come out there and they want to act, but they were smart. They fall back and they got degrees, and
Yeah.
they actually I've talked to two actors who are actually working as nurses, the registered nurses.
Wonderful.
And yeah, so they have that to fall back on. They still do the career, and they still do very well in it, and yet they still work a day job.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like if you want it, like if you don't have something else to do, even if it's just a hobby, and you become so obsessed with acting and success, it's all consuming, and you just become like a tyrant. You need to have something else to like be able to diffuse, because it's rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. You have to have a happy place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't just put all your eggs in one basket.
No.
And she's a terrific interviewee. I think so too.
Thank you.
Uh,
You guys are so lovely.
let's see. A law degree teaches you how to think very analytically. It's a tool you can use for many things. You don't have to be in a courtroom. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
she does have an Instagram page. I will put that down in the description box, with all her other social media contacts, including her movie database page, so you can see what's coming up next.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, we do it up right here. Okay. Here's the last thing I'll ask you before I let you go. So, tell us a funny story about Michael Caissie.
Oh, I can think of a lot of embarrassing ones
Okay,
for
well, let's
him
go for
and
it.
for me, but I'll save us both the embarrassment. Um, hmm. I I can't tell that one. I already told that one where I thought he was an actor and he was ended up being the director, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me just take my foot out of my mouth." Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is funny, but we were like holed up in the hotel, and he didn't come out for like 5 days because he was afraid of getting COVID. But that's not funny because that's like
Oh, God, so that's a
a
legitimate.
reality.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, he's got little ones at home and whatnot.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. I'm trying to think, No Tears in Hell, we got to be in Alabama, and that was so much fun. But, again, like, he's such a fantastic writer. That one's about cannibals.
Oh yeah, he's super creative. Have you seen
Yeah.
Have you seen Hunter's Moon and Hangman?
I have seen
And Death
Hunter's Moon.
Month?
I haven't seen Hangman yet.
Oh, Hangman's great. Hangman's really good. Hunter's Moon. I'll let him tell you that story. Um,
Okay.
I, yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those movies which I love to see. I love to see this. Um, it's becoming a cult favorite. I hear more and more people talk about it. It seems like every week I'm hearing more and more people talk about it. When people talk about werewolf movies,
It's
now
just such
I'm
a
hearing.
clever the ending was just so clever.
Oh, I love the concept. Oh, I can't. I told him when we talked, I said I really want you to go back and go back and do another one because it's such a interesting. I just love it. I love the idea. I think it's just so badass. It'd be such a franchise, Uh,
Yeah, it
um,
could be
you
for
know,
sure.
a crime fighting family of werewolves. Holy crow! I mean, because most of the time werewolves are always, they always had the bad endings. There's never a werewolf movie with a happy ending. But
Right.
Hunter's Moon actually did that, and it was just
Mhm.
so badass. And it's just like that's a freaking cool idea.
Yeah.
And so I love it. Uh, all right, let's see. Got more. Yep. Let's see. I think this interview will very deservedly go wide when people Google Tatiana. That's what I'm hoping for. People can share it out too. Let's see. You've been such a phenomenal guest. Thanks very much for this. Great interview, Patrick. Uh, hope you get a film in Canada. I hope so too. I do,
Thank
and that
you.
way we can have you come back.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to thank the chat for coming out and supporting this interview. You guys have absolutely been just amazing. I'm so grateful for you guys to come out and support this. It makes me feel really good. Tatjana, you've been a gem, an absolute joy to talk to, and I had a lot of fun. And I hope you had a lot of fun too.
I did. The pleasure's been all mine, Patrick. Thank you.
Um, we will be back tomorrow because we do this 3 times a week. We'll be back tomorrow with actress Dolores Wheeler. She'll be here at 8 o'clock, and we hope that you will come back and visit us. And again, I'll put all Tatjana's information down in the description box, so you guys can all follow her on Instagram and root her on. All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8. Stay right where you're at, Tatjana.
All right.
Let's do this. Hey, Paladin.